been phenomenal to work with, and Celestia Pittman is going to be our trader today, and so I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Good afternoon. All right, so how many of you have personal Gmail accounts? Anybody in here? All right, excellent. All right, well, you're going to learn a lot of things, whether you ever seen your Google Mail account before or not. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to start off by talking about things that are new and different in your mail account, things like conversation threads and how in Gmail you don't do any sorting. Everything we do in Gmail is via search. We're going to look at cool features like priority inbox and labs. We're going to start off with your inbox and look at snippets and message sneak peek. Then we're going to move on to search, and I'll show you lots of different ways to find anything that you're looking for, and filters. How many of you use rules in Outlook? Anybody in here? Okay, excellent. So in Outlook it was rules. In Gmail it's filters. Then we're going to move on to composed mail, contacts, tasks, chat, recommended labs, and at the very end of the training we're going to look at how you customize all of your settings like out of office, signature, and mail delegation. At the end of the training, you'll know how to manage and organize your inbox. You'll have a real good understanding of how Gmail handles conversation threads, and of course, along the way, I will share with you shortcuts, tips, and best practices. There's also a list of recommended labs. Just like you have apps that you'll add to your phone, Google has labs that you can add to your Google Mail account, and I'll show you a number of those. And then we will move into calendar. So the first hour is going to be spent in the mail. The last 30 minutes or so we'll jump into calendar. Lots of cool calendar features. I will show you how to create any kind of calendar you desire, a personal calendar, a team calendar, a project calendar, plus sport calendars, weather calendars. We're going to look at all of your different calendar views. I'll show you 3 ways to create calendar events. We'll look at best practices for managing your calendar, tasks, recommended labs, and once again, conclude with all of your personal settings. At the end of the training, you'll know how to manage and organize your calendar, how to create all those special calendars, as well as shortcuts, tips, and best practices will be shared. There's also a list of recommended calendar labs that we will go over, and it is okay if you don't remember everything. Yes, there's lots to cover in 90 minutes. I will point you to some recommended resources at the very end of the training. All right, so this isn't your typical hands-on class. Even though we encourage you to bring your laptop, and that's great that you did, a typical hands-on training class would be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. We don't have 2 to 4 hours to do hands-on, I do this and then you do that, and we wait for you to catch up and things like that. That would be beautiful. It's ideal, but we don't have the time. So what I am going to do, I'm going to, from time to time, share with you a couple of things and encourage you to follow along. But it's not meant for you to be able to keep up, so don't say, hey, wait, because we're going to have to keep going, all right? But you are going to learn a lot. So let's go ahead and jump right into the training. So one of the things that's so cool is that you're on a browser system. So that means from now on, no matter where you are, as long as you have internet access, you'll be able to get into your mail, your calendar, and all of your other Google apps. Most of you have personal Gmail accounts, so you know an easy way to get in is just to go to Google, click on Gmail, sign in by putting in your username, your password, and then just clicking sign in. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, because I do want you to follow along as much as you can, is to enable 4 labs. So follow along with me, please.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. They were told us there would be a training account available for those that don't have a Google account.
Okay.
Accurate or inaccurate?
That is accurate. So go to test. So go to Google. Where's your sign in? So go like gmail.com. Okay, and so then it's test.guide. It's anywhere between number between 1 and 50. At the password is capital G, going, the number 2, and then capital G, Google.
G as in going, or G?
G as in going. G as in going. So going, capitalized.
Of the word?
So capital G-O-I-N-G, the number 2, capital G-O-O-G-L-E, exclamation point. So you might have to go through a welcome if you're the first person who's added.
All right, so the first thing I want you to do, you see right here where it says Settings? Go ahead and click on the drop-down right here, and then click on Settings. And once you click on Settings, I'd like for you to click right here where it says Labs. And there are 4 labs I'd like for you to enable. The first one is canned responses. Now, you'll notice right away that all the labs are in alphabetical order. So go ahead and select canned responses. That's the first lab. And don't worry, if you enable something you don't like it, you can always come back and disable, all right? That's what's so cool about your Google account. And then the next lab I'd like for you to enable is Message Sneak Peek. Again, they're all in alphabetical order. Then enable Preview Pane. And the very last one is Undo Send. Now, there are lots of labs here. We're going to come back to labs at the special portion of the training where we look at labs. But since you're following along with me, I wanted you to enable those 4 labs. When you finish, go ahead, scroll up or down, and select Save Changes, all right? Canned responses, Message Sneak Peek, Preview Pane, and Undo Send. My pleasure. Now, when you finish, click on Save Changes. And after you click on Save Changes, it should take you back to the inbox. Then I want you to do this one more time. I want you to click right here on the drop-down under Settings. Click on Settings. But this time, instead of selecting Labs, you are exactly where I want you, which is on the General tab. Scroll down until you see stars. You see this? When you see stars, just click on 4 stars. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about everything later on, but all I want you to do now is click on 4 stars, scroll to the very bottom, and click on Save Changes. All right? As soon as you click on Save Changes, it should take you back to the inbox. Now, the reason I had you to do that is because I'm going to show you 3 quick ways to look at your mail without even having to open your mail up. So the first way for you to look at your mail is with snippets. Snippets are just a line of text next to each message, giving you a snippet about that message, kind of grayed out. These are snippets. Now, the second way for you to quickly look at your mail, and you can follow along with me, and what I'd like for you to do is to just right-click on a message. You see that? That is the Message Sneak Peek that I had you to enable. So you right-click on a message, and then you can just click and scroll through, and you can quickly look at all of your messages. And then the next thing I'd like for you to do, you see right here next to Settings, click on the drop-down, and this is our Preview pane. So click on Vertical Split, and then select a message, and now you see you have a vertical split. And then go back up, click on Horizontal Split, and now you see you also have a horizontal split. So those are the 3 quick ways for you to view your messages. And so now go back again, click on No Split. So 2 of those were labs, and 1 was just a snippet. Now, the next thing I want to share with you, I want to talk about conversation threads. So most of you said, hey, I have a Google Mail account. Excellent. For those of you that do not, I want to share with you how conversation threads work. So first of all, you notice these numbers, 8, 5, 9, 10, etc., right? Well, this is pretty neat. You see right here where it says island destinations and the number 9? This means that there have been 9 conversations regarding island destinations. So what am I talking about? Well, Brian is the originator of this message. And Brian sent this message to a number of people, including Laura and Lynn. I have read all 9 messages. That's why none of the names are bold and the subject is in bold. This is what's so neat about conversation threads. Now, instead of having 9 separate email messages scattered throughout my inbox, all of the 9 messages regarding island destinations in one place. If you look up ahead, you see Winter Olympic Tours, right? Now, Fiona is the originator of this message. And Fiona sent this message to a number of people, including Brian and Deborah. Now, I haven't read any of these conversations. That's why all the names are bold, as you see, and the subject is bold. So again, conversation threads all of the messages together based on the replies. So instead of having Fiona's reply, Brian's, and Deborah's scattered throughout my inbox, they're all in one place. Now I'm going to look at a message that has a mixture of read and unread messages. So I'm going to select this message right here, also entitled Island Destinations, but this message was started by Shell. So Shell sent this message entitled Island Destinations, and I read Shell's message, and if you can see, I read the messages in between Shell and Nicholas. I haven't read Nicholas' message, nor have I read the messages after Nicholas. So from Nicholas all the way to Lynn, I have not read those messages. Make sense? Okay, good. So I'm going to open this message up. It has 8 conversations. I'm going to open up Island Destinations. All right, so the subject is right here at the top, Island Destinations. And like I told you, Shell is the one who kicked off this message. He kicked off this message on January the 30th. And all of the messages are in chronological order. You can hover over, as you see I'm doing, and you get all the time and date stamp of all the messages. Now, these 3 messages are collapsed. That's because they've already been read. But the messages from Nicholas on, as you see, are all expanded. So when you go inside of a message, all the messages that have already been read are collapsed, and the unread messages are expanded. The other thing that's really neat is this. Every message has its own menu option. You see that? So if I just wanted to reply to Nicholas, I'd go inside of Nicholas' message. If I wanted to reply to Fiona, I'd go inside of Fiona's message, or Lynn, or Nicholas. You see that? Every message has its own menu option. So let's go ahead and reply to Fiona. So watch this. I'm going to click right here on reply. And I have options. You say, what options? You see right here? Click on this, and I have an option to send it only to Fiona, or I can reply to all. Now, what does reply to all mean? It means I'm replying to all of the people that Fiona replied to. That's all that means. So Fiona replied to Shell and Lynn and Brian. Reply to all. I have Shell and Lynn and Brian and the whole gang that she replied to. So I'm going to click right here on reply to all. So what if I wanted to add someone? Well, I'm glad you asked. If I want to add someone, I could type right here. You see where the cursor's blinking? I just start typing, and I can add Kane. What if I wanted to remove someone? Excellent question. All I have to do is click on the X, and I've just removed Brian. So adding, removing is the same thing that you would do in your Outlook account. And so I'm going to type, you know what, guys? This is a great idea. Now watch what happens when I click on send. When I click on send, my message, great idea, comes to the bottom of this conversation. And when we go back to the inbox, look at this. The number changed to 9. Remember, the number was originally 8. Now the number is 9, and it shows me as the last person to respond. And here's my snippet, great idea. That's what I just typed. So I'm going to open this message up again. But this time, look, it says 6 older messages. That's because all the messages have been read. The only message that's expanded is the message that I just sent. So I'm going to click right here on 6 older messages and watch what happens. I now have a snapshot of all the messages. So I can click on any of these messages at any time and start to look at this message. Now, one of the reasons I like conversation threads so much is this. How many times have you received email messages in Outlook, just separate messages, and you start to respond to a message only to find out later on someone else has already responded to that message, right? Yes. That doesn't happen in your Google Mail account because they're all threaded together. Before I put in my 2 cents, I get to see what Shell said, what Fiona said, what everyone has said. I get to read everyone's contribution to the topic island destination before I start talking about island destination. That's one thing that's really great. Another reason I like conversation threads is this. You go on vacation, you come back, and instead of having 200 new email messages in your inbox, you may only have 20 because they've been threaded together based on the replies to that subject. So let's say you do go on vacation. You go on vacation, you come back, you're trying to catch up with your email messages. And the last message you read was Shell's. Before you could get to Nicholas, you were interrupted. So let me show you how you can bookmark a message. Watch this. I'm going to go inside of Nicholas' message, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to select Mark Unread from here. So when you select Mark Unread from here, you're essentially bookmarking that message. So I'm saying, let's bookmark it from here. So I'm going to click right here and watch what happens. It takes me back to the inbox, and where's it marked unread? From Nicholas. All right? So when my interruption is over and I come back and I want to pick up my email messages, all I have to do is click right here, and it opens up right at Nicholas. Other cool features include this. Even though 9 conversations are threaded together, every conversation has its own menu. So if I only wanted to forward Nicholas' message, I click here, and only Nicholas' message would forward. If I only want to print Nicholas' message, I click here, and only Nicholas' message would print. But if I wanted to print all 9, you see where I'm pointing? I click right here to print all of the messages. And if I wanted to forward all the messages, I would click right here to forward all the messages. So here's the point that I'm making. The menu options on the outside, they pertain to all of the messages. But the menu option inside is just for that message. So what questions do you have about conversation threads? Yes.
Let's say early on you archived a message or something, and then a new one comes in. I think, doesn't the inbox, I mean, when you archive it, it's sort of out of the inbox. When
Right.
a new message comes in, does it pull back into the inbox?
Absolutely.
So, okay. So when you're done reading it, does it take the new stuff and suck it to the archive with the old stuff, or do you have to?
It's all threaded together. So a new message comes in just like this. When I go right here, remember I said some messages are read. So I read Steve's message, but I haven't read Kane's and I haven't read Shell. So these are the new messages. They're all threaded together.
So if you had archived Steve's originally.
So if I archive it, if I archive Steve's message, when Kane and Shell, when they sent their messages, it came right back to the inbox.
After you read Kane and Shell and you're done, and you'd like to get the whole thread back archived, do you have to re-archive the thread or re-archive those new?
Right.
The new ones are actually still sitting in.
No, once you read it, and after you finish reading it, you just click on archive.
Okay.
You can click on archive. No, let me show you. If I open this message right here to read it. When I finish reading it, I can click right here. When I remove the inbox label, it automatically archives it. So when I finish reading this message, I click the inbox label, and it will automatically archive, because you know archive just removes the inbox label.
Right.
So that's all you have to do is click right here, and the inbox label will be removed, and it will automatically just be in your all mail. And I don't want to jump ahead to talk too much about archiving because I haven't covered that yet. And some people may be going, what is archive? So, yeah. All right. Any other questions about conversation threads? Yes.
Yeah. If you forward, like at Kane Forward the conversation up to that point or only that message?
Okay. So if I'm inside of Kane's message and I click on forward, it's going to forward. I'm going to scroll down. It's going to forward whatever Kane message had attached to his message. It's just like in Outlook. In Outlook, if you forward a message, what's going to be there depends on what you're forwarding, what the other person had said. So the same thing is true in your Google Mail account. So if you ever want to know what's being forwarded, you can always scroll down and look, and I see exactly what's being forwarded.
Okay. So if the conversation splits, you won't necessarily get the entire thing.
Absolutely. So if you wanted somebody, I'm going to click on discard. So if I wanted to make sure somebody got all the conversations, what would I do? Absolutely. And forward all. And when I click on forward all and I scroll down, it says forwarded conversation, the subject, it's going to forward Steve's message, Deborah's, so it forwards all the messages in order. So that person will get all the messages that I've got. Absolutely. Excellent.
How about the reverse of that? What if I want to unthread the message?
Yeah, I'll show you how to unthread. That's part of settings, and I'll show you how you can, and you can remove the thread. I'll show you how you can do that.
Okay, second question, can I change how the date is displayed?
No, everything's in chronological order. So the date is right here. So if I wanted to see any specifics about a date, all I have to do is click on the drop-down, and I can get the full email addresses as well as the time and date stamp, or I can simply hover over that date like that. But those are the two ways to see the dates.
Can you control how it displays that?
No, everything comes in chronological order. You can't control the display.
I don't want to sort it. I just want to show more than just January 26th. I would need to do the time of message.
No, you're right. You can't. Right. There's no automatic setting that will automatically show you that. So if you wanted to see it, you would have to click right here if you wanted to see the date and time stamp. Otherwise, you could hover over, or you could open it up. Those are the two ways. But there's no setting for it to automatically show you everything. Any other questions about conversation threads?
Emails come in on the same day. They're all shown the same day. You just remember somebody sent me something. It's been about 1 o'clock. You'd have to go through each one.
You can just, if that's important to you, the time, absolutely. You could hover over, like all of these came. Well, these two both came in on the 24th. I can hover over. I see this came in at 6:27. I hovered. This came in at 6:28. So that's what I would do. This came in on the 26th, and I just hover over. Okay? All right. And that's why you are in training, because Outlook and Gmail are not the same. All right? Great. All right, so now the next thing I want to do, I'm going to show you 3 ways in which you can organize your mail. So the first way for you to organize your mail is with stars. And you see these grayed out stars. Go ahead and click on a star. When you click on a star, you get a gold star. And remember I asked you to go ahead and click on those 4 stars? Now watch this. You can take your mouse, your clicker, and with the left click, when you continue to click, you see they change. You see that? And you just click until you get the one that you want. Now, I only had you to do 4 in the beginning, but we'll go back and look at all of them. But I want to share with you how I use these. So I use these to help me manage my mail. I'll put a green check mark next to anything that has to be done today. I use the red exclamation point for priority items. I put an I next to anything that's just for my information. And I put a question mark next to email messages that I have questions about or I'm waiting for answers to. Now, you can ascribe whatever meaning you want. They can mean whatever you want them to mean. And anything you star will be right here in the star system label. So stars are just one of the ways for you to manage your mail. Yes, sir? Right, yeah, we enabled it early on, and we're going to go back to settings, and I'll show you how to do that, absolutely. Now, the second way for you to manage your mail is with important markers. So you'll notice that Google has automatically marked some messages important. To find out why, you just hover over. Now, if something has been marked important and it shouldn't be, all you have to do is select and deselect. So you decide what's important and what's not important. Anything you deem to be important will be right here in the important system label. And then the third way for you to manage your mail is with labels. So in Outlook, you have folders. In Gmail, you have labels. So let's talk about differences and similarities. So in the world of Outlook, we could take this message right here from Family Vacation Critic. So first of all, it's from Family Vacation Critic, and it's talking about a resort. So in the world of Outlook, we could click and drag. You see, you can move messages just like you did before. Click and drag. We could move it to Family, or we could move it to Resort. But the thing is this, in Outlook, we can only move it to one of these folders. In Gmail, you have labels, which means you don't have to make a decision. I can select this message, and I can apply as many labels that it makes sense for this to go in. So it makes sense to go under Deals, I want it to go under Family, and I want it to go under Resort. I click on Apply, and there I have it. Now, this message has not been duplicated. It's one message that I can view from Deals, I can view it from Family, and I can view it from Resort. Plus, you see this? The inbox is also a label. The inbox is a system label. So I have one message and essentially 4 labels. So I'm going to go back to the inbox, and I'm going to select a second message. But this time, when I go under labels, I'm going to click right here on Create New. So I'm going to create a brand new label called Cru, and then click on Create, and there you have it. So here's the label right here called Cru. So I'm going to click on the drop-down, and you see what I can do with this label. I can give this label a custom color. The other things that I can do with this label is hide the label from the label list or hide the label from the message list. Now, when you migrate, all of your folders are going to become labels. So how many of you have more than 100 folders? All right. Now, I've worked with someone, and that's nothing. I've worked with someone, and one of my clients had 400. Yeah, 400 folders. Yes, very organized, right? So you probably don't want to see hundreds of labels right here. That's why Google gives you an opportunity to hide. Watch this. So I'm just going to click on Hide, and that's all it does. It just has hidden that label from my view. When I click on More and I scroll down, here are all the labels that I've hidden, and there's Cru. So hiding labels, showing labels, is all about preferences, and you can hide and show as many labels as you desire. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to show you how to create a sub-label, because we know most label users are also big sub-label users. So I'm going to click right here on Add Sub-Label. Now, what this is, I'm going to select Client A, click on Create, and here, Client A. Now, watch this. I'm going to take Client A, click on the drop-down, add a sub-label called Client AA. And there we have it, our label, our sub-label, and our sub-sub-label. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I want you to follow along with me. You see right here where it says More? Go ahead and click on More, please. And then scroll down. And I'd like for you to select Manage Labels. Now, when you select Manage Labels, you see your first set of labels are system labels. And any system label can be hidden except for the inbox. Google has hidden 4 of your labels, and I want them to be shown. All right? So I want you to click on Show for chats. So I want you to show chats. Go ahead, please, and click on Show. I want you to show all mail, spam, and trash. That was easy. So I want you to show all 4 of those labels. Then scroll down, and you see the second set of labels. These are the labels that we create. These are custom labels. And we created Cru, and you see, go ahead and click. As soon as you click inside of a label, you see you automatically have that label in the edit mode. So it's easy to go in, change the spelling, correct the spelling. It's easy to put a label in edit mode. Now, all the labels, as you see, are in alphabetical order. Now, tourist is the last label right here showing in my list. So what if I say, you know what, I use tourist a lot. That's an important label. I want it to come to the top. Let me show you a little trick. So all you have to do is put a character or number in front of a label and watch what happens. That label moves to the top of the list. You see that? So if you want a label to be moved to the top, put a character or a number in front of it. Another thing that I recommend that you do, you see right here where it says show and label list? When you migrate over, if you have 20 or 400 labels, I recommend that you hide all. Hide all of your labels, then come back and click on show. And just show the labels that you're actually using on a daily basis. Because even though you may have 100, you're probably not using all 100. You may only be using 5. So I recommend that you hide them all, show the ones that you're using. Of course, it's a recommendation. If you want to show 200, show 200, all right? Yeah. Now I'm going to go back to the inbox. Now you understand that I could take this message right here. Here's the message entitled Holy Yours. I can take this message, click and drag, and move it to Cru. That was easy. But watch this. I can also take the label Cru, click and drag, and move it to a message. You see that? It works both ways. Now, the next thing I want to do, I want to talk about cleaning up your inbox. So you've heard the little buzzwords about archiving and all mail and things like that. So that's what I want to demonstrate right now. So I'd like for you to follow along. I'd like for you to select the first 2 messages in your inbox. All right, now after you've selected the first 2 messages in your inbox, I'd like for you to click right here on all mail. Now if you don't see all mail, it's because when we were in the labels, you didn't click on show. All right, so now here's all mail. Now what you notice is the 2 messages that you selected in your inbox are also selected where? In all mail, right? And you see those 2 messages have the inbox label, all right? When I click on my inbox, the messages are there. When I click on all mail, those 2 messages are there with the inbox label. Now, archiving is a quick way to move messages out of your inbox view. So archiving in Gmail has nothing to do with putting anything on your hard drive. You're still in the browser. You're still in the cloud. Now watch this. When I click on archive, and I want you to click on archive too, when I click on archive, it simply is going to remove the inbox label. That's all archive does. Archive removes the inbox label. So go ahead and click on archive. When you click on archive, you see, it just removes the inbox label. So when I go back to the inbox, those 2 messages are no longer in the inbox, but they're still where? In all mail. That's because all mail is all of your mail. If it's in the inbox, it's in all mail. If it has no label at all, it's in all mail. If it has labels, it's in all mail. All mail is everything except spam and trash. So here's a pop quiz. So if I send you an email right now, that email is going to be in 2 places. What are those 2 places? Very good. All right, so everybody gets a T-shirt. Very nice. All right, absolutely. So if I send you an email, it will be in 2 places, the inbox and all mail. And if you archive something and then you say, hey, I want to move back to the inbox, you see this? Move to inbox. All it does is put the inbox label back on. So I just wanted you to see that there's no mystery to archiving. Archive simply removes the inbox label. All right, now, the next thing we're going to do is take a look at deletion. Now, this is why I like mail. In your Outlook account, mail came into your inbox. You have to do something with it if you didn't want it to stay in your inbox. Most people probably kept it just in your inbox. You probably have lots of mail in your inbox. Well, with your new Google Mail account, you don't have to just leave mail in your inbox. You have options. You don't just have to delete. That's what someone said in the last class. Yes, my option was to delete. No. Mail comes into your inbox. You don't have to put a label on it. You don't have to delete it. You can just simply click on Archive and move it. You now have 25 gigabytes of space. So in Outlook, you didn't even have 1 gig. So you've gone from not even having 1 gig to having 25 gigs, just trying to give you an idea of how much space you have now. So with your 25 gigabytes of space, you should not be in a hurry to delete anything. So what I always tell people when I'm training is that those first 3 months, don't delete anything. Just keep everything until you wrap your head around how conversation threads work. But if you do decide to delete, I want to show you what's going to happen. So let's take this message right here with its 3 labels, right? We select the message, we click on the trash icon to delete. And it says, moving conversations from all mail to trash will remove them from all views. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK. So there it goes. That message is no longer in all mail. Where is it now? In trash. Now, here's another trick question. But first, with a trick question. Here's the question. So we're looking at this message in the trash, and the labels are attached to this message. So here's the question. Is this message in these labels? No, right. The mere fact that I said it's a trick question, you're like, the answer must be no. That's right. So let me show you this. When I click on Deals, Family, and Resort, you're going to see this message from Family Vacation Credit that came in on the 4th. It's not going to be in any of these labels. Watch. When I click on Deals, it's not in Deals. It's not in Family. And it's not in Resort. Where is it? Trash. All right, so then the question is, if it's not in these labels, or are the labels still attached? Excellent question. So the labels are attached because Google recognizes that a lot of us are trash pickers. We put something in the trash, then we come back and pick it out, right? You see right here, it says messages that have been in trash more than 30 days will automatically be deleted. So if you're within that 30-day period, you can select the message and you can do a move to. You see that? So this is how you restore a message that's in trash. You just do a move to. Now, watch this. I'm going to move this message to Cru. This message was never associated with Cru, but I'm going to move to Cru. Now, watch what's going to happen. Now, when I click on Deals, message there. When I click on Family, the message is there. When I click on Resort, the message is there. Here's the point. When you delete a message from one label, it's deleted from what? All labels. Messages in your Google Mail account are not duplicated. There's only one copy of a message. So if you have 10 labels on a message, and you delete that message, it's deleted from how many labels? All 10, absolutely. And if you restore the message, it's restored to all 10. So again, there's only one copy of a message. If you delete it, it's deleted. If you restore it, it's restored. But there's only one copy of a message. And I always like to do a demonstration of that to show you. Any questions about anything I've just covered? Yes, sir.
I know she used the move function, and it's happened to me sometimes that I went to do a label and actually the move thing. Is it move and a label, are they basically the same?
Let me show you the differences. So if I take this message right here, Extraordinary Places, and I click and I say move to Cru, it takes it out of my inbox and it moves it to Cru. If I take this message right here and I go under labels and I select Cru and I click on apply, that message is still in my inbox, but it too has the Cru label. One is in two places. One is in one. Move to moves it out of the inbox view.
Labels it
and moves it, exactly. And the other thing is that if you label something, you can apply multiple labels, but a move to, you can only move it to one place.
And that happened to me one time. I accidentally, I was going to label multiple times, but
Right.
Wait, there it is.
Yeah, it went, yeah. So label allows you to apply multiple labels. Move to moves it out of your inbox to that label. That was, you had another question, yes.
So my question is, if I'm understanding this right, let's say I have no labels now, but when I migrate my Outlook account to Google, all the folders of which I've made will suddenly create a multitude of labels.
Yeah.
So that's when I'll have my labels.
Exactly.
And I can keep those or choose them or whatever. So,
Absolutely.
So this will be an important function when we turn off all the labels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of your folders are coming over as labels. All right, so the next thing I want to do, I want to share with you how you can find something. So I was telling you there are lots of ways to find things in your Google Mail account because you don't sort in your Google Mail account. So the first way to find anything is to do a simple search. So watch this. I'm going to type the name David in the search bar, and Google found 100 email messages with the name David. Now, this was thorough. Google searched uppercase, lowercase, body, subject, and attachments. And if you look at the bottom, you see right here, it says deleted messages match your search, so Google also searched the trash. Now, the second way to do a search, still using the search bar, I'm going to add an operator. What's an operator? To, from, subject. Those are all called operators. So I'm going to say, show me things from David Coleman. So we go from 100 to 1. Now, the second way to do a search is from a label. So a lot of you are going to be big label users. So if I know the email I'm looking for is in the family label, I click on the family label, and the family label appears in the search bar. I have 47 email messages. I'm just going to type the word past to pare this down because I'm looking for something that's talking about family past. So I go from 47 to 3. Now, another way to do a search, and I'd like for you to follow along with me. You see right here where it says search options? Go ahead and click right here. When you click right here, you see you have all of the options. Right here, you can search on all of your system labels, including no spam and trash. I can search for everything that's read or everything that's unread from David. Plus, I can search in of my system labels. Plus, you also see you can search from to subject, has the words, doesn't have, has an attachment. Right here, you see you can switch in a time frame. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want to show you a thing. I want you to click back on settings. You see right here, go ahead and click on settings. And then I want you to select help. And then I want you to type, you see right here, I want you to type advanced search. Go ahead and type advanced search. And then after you type advanced search, go ahead right here, click on it. And then select using advanced search. You see this? Does everybody see this? Click on using advanced search. These, ladies and gentlemen, are all of your operators. So if you ever have a question, you say, you know, what are some of the other ways that I can search? They're all right here. You can search from, to, continue to scroll down. You can search by file name, quotes and brackets, hyphens. You can search on all of your stars. You can search smaller, larger, by size. So I just wanted you to see all the different ways in which you can do search. All right? Now, the next thing we're going to do is to take a look at Compose Mail. So I'm just going to click right here on Compose. Everything that you're used to in Compose, you have. Now, if any of you, if your Compose doesn't look like this, you have an option to try the new Compose. So go ahead and click on the new Compose. You'll have an option right here. And it'll say something about new Compose. Click on that, and you'll have the same view that I have. What's neat about Compose is that when you're typing an email message, you have an ad. So Google recognizes the people that you send email messages to, and it's saying, hey, do you want to add Sydney? Do you want to add Fiona? So it remembers the group of people that you add email messages, that you send email messages to. It doesn't take the place of a group or a distribution list. It's just a memory jogger. In fact, it used to be a lab. It was a lab about 2 years ago, and it was called Don't Forget Bob. So to help you not forget Bob, it has an ad here. So you have your CC, your BCC, your subject, and if you're typing and you misspell a word, all you do is right-click. And when you right-click, you have a selection of words. You can add to the dictionary for suggestions. So you can go ahead and select the correct word, and you're good. Other things I'm encouraging you to do is to be curious. So hover over the A under formatting options. When you do that, click on it. And then you see that? You have all of your formatting options. When you hover over the attached, over the gem clip, you'll see that you have all of your options for attaching and inserting. And you see right here where the trash can is? Google automatically saves all of your emails. So you're creating an email message. If the lights go out or blink, not a problem. Everything's automatically saved. Google saves everything, so you don't have to be concerned with losing anything. And then this is what I want. You see where it says more options? Go ahead and click on more options. Where you have more options, you have canned responses. Now, did anyone in here create stationery in Outlook? Anybody use stationery? No one? Well, I'm going to show you how you can use canned responses. It's really cool. And then what you have here, while you're creating an email message, you can automatically apply a label to it. Request receipt, plain text mode, print, and go ahead and click on check spelling. When you click on check spelling, you can click right here, and you see you can check spelling in different languages. Let's click on the X. Now, I'm going to show you canned responses. So if you like to, follow along. I think you're going to like it. So what are canned responses? So if you need to create a form letter, a paragraph, a sentence, or just one word, something you have to say over and over again but don't want to type over and over again, I'm going to show you how to create a canned response. So the first thing you want to do is delete everything that's on the page. So let's say we're project managers, and the project that we're responsible for has a problem, and the problem impacts 500 people. So we're going to receive 500 email messages telling us about the problem. So we're going to can our response. So here's our response. We are aware of the problem and are working on it. Thank you for your patience. All right? So let's can this, because we don't want to type this 500 times. So what we're going to do is click right here under More Options. We want to go under Canned Responses, and we want to select New Canned Response. Okay? And then we want to give this canned response a title. We're going to call it Aware. And then we're going to click on OK. So there we have it. Now, I'm going to close this out. And let's say the new email message starts to come in telling us about the problem. All we have to do is click right here, go under Canned Responses, and insert Aware. Just like that. Very nice. Now, let's kick it up a notch. What do I mean by that? Well, we don't have to insert it 500 times. We can let Google do all the work for us. We can automate this. Let me show you. So I am going to go back here to my search options, and you can follow along if you like, and I'm going to say this. Anytime we get an email message and it has the word problem, I'm going to click right here on Create a Filter. This is what I wanted to do. I can have it to skip the inbox. I can mark it as read. I can star it. I can apply a label. I can have it to go to Cru. I could forward it. I could delete it. I can say never send it to spam. Let's go ahead and send the canned response we created called aware. Always mark it as important or never mark it as important. This is pretty neat. So what I'm saying now is I'm automating my mail. You can use this any way you desire. Lots of you have already created rules in Outlook. Well, your Google Mail has filters. You can say anytime you get an email message from Stacy, you want to always mark it as important. You see that? That's right. All right? So these are just some of the things you could do when you're managing your mail. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Filter. And then I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to go back to Settings. You see everything's just right under Settings, right? And then I'm going to click on Filters. And there you have it. Anytime I get an email, it has the word problem. It's going to skip the inbox, go directly to the Cru label, and send the recipients the canned response to let them know we are aware. Yes?
Is there a way to actually have a person's name, like it's from Portia and always goes to Sandra?
Absolutely. So let me go back to edit. Let me answer your question. So I'm going to go back to edit, and you see where it says from? Absolutely. Any of these fields, I just decided to go with, has the word problem, but absolutely. Anything that has, for instance, I'm working on the Cru project. Anytime anything comes to me and it has the word Cru anywhere, it automatically places a Cru label on it. So this is just how you automate your mail. I'm just going to click on cancel and go back to filters. Now, one of the things I wanted you to see, now here's another pop quiz. This one is easy. All right? So if you have mail to skip your inbox and go directly to a label, how will you know you have new messages? Come on, this is easy. Yes. Go ahead, anybody.
You'll see it in the column by the label.
Absolutely.
In this case, 500.
What you'll see is this. The label will be bold, and there will be a number in parentheses letting you know how many unread messages you have. So anytime you want messages to skip your inbox and to go directly to a label, nothing goes under the radar. You'll always know how many unread messages you have because the number will be right there. Pretty neat. Now, the next thing we're going to do, you see we're under Settings, all right? I want you to be under Settings with me right now, under Settings, and then I want you to click on Labs. So in the beginning, I had you to enable some of the labs. So you enabled canned responses, which was the lab, so that's pretty cool. That's why I had you to enable it. Another lab is default text styling. This is neat. You probably noticed every time I type, my font is always in the color purple. That's because I enabled default text styling. You may always want your font to be Times instead of Arial. You'll set that up right there. Here's another cool lab. The Google Calendar gadget. Watch this. I'm going to click right here. You see where I'm pointing? When I click right here, look at that. I have a snippet of my calendar right there in my inbox. I like that. It's very nice. The mark button. I use this one a lot. It's a nice couple with the message sneak peek, which is another one I told you to enable. So you enabled message sneak peek, preview pane, and undo send. Now, undo send is going to give you up to 30 seconds to stop a message from being sent once you click on send. All right? I know in Outlook a lot of you had message recall. So you can't recall a message, but you do have up to 30 seconds to stop a message from being sent. Now, there are a lot of labs. You do not want to enable all of them, all right? We already told the Google guys to make sure you don't. So you just want to enable some of the ones we recommended. When you finish, you click on Save Changes, and then click on the General tab for me, please. The General tab is where you will customize all of your features. So we came here earlier, but we only looked at the stars. But you want to come here, and you want to select everything. So, not select everything. You want to look at everything and make your selection. So you're going to scroll down. If you want your font to always be Times instead of Arial, you'll select this. The lady asked earlier about conversation view turning on and off. You do it right here. You also have undo send. Now click on the drop down. Undo send defaults to 10 seconds. That's not long enough, right? So you have up to 30 seconds to stop a message from being sent once you click on send. And then you have the preview pane. You decide when you want that to be marked as read. And the gentleman, you were asking about the stars. Here they are right here. So these are the stars. Now, I had you to go ahead and click on the 4 stars in the beginning, but you can have as many or as few as you want. If you say, you know what, I'm only going to use 3 stars, this is what you do. Watch. Click and drag. You move them. If you say, I'm not going to use that one, and you could say, I'm always going to, I want the question mark to be the first, because every click is a stop. So if you want your first click to be a question mark, you make that first, and you just click and drag, and you order them in the order you desire. Now you got your notifications to turn on, mail notifications to turn on. I'm just scrolling through. You have your signature and vacation responder. So I'm just going over this quickly because we do have a lot to cover. And this is your general tab. Yes, sir.
Do these labs features show up in mobile devices as well? So if you want to use a scan response when you're on the phone, or can you use a scan response?
That's a good question. I'll have to check and see. I know that the stars don't work, but that's a real good question. I have an iPhone, and I never checked to see. I've never had done a can response, but that's a good question. I'll have to check and see. Check. Thank you, Stacy. Now, the next thing I want you to do, I want you to click right here on Inbox. After you click on Save Changes, go back to Settings, click on the Inbox. All right? Now, the inbox, Google has given us 5 types of inboxes. Yes, Google wants to make sure you're very organized. Now, one of the inboxes is Priority Inbox. I'm going to go to Sydney's account, and we're going to take a look at Priority Inbox. So Priority Inbox gives you sections, 4 different sections. Everything that's important and unread is in the first section. Everything that's important is in the second section. Everything that's unread is in the third section, and in the very last section is everything else. So if you have lots of mail in your inbox and you've never organized your inbox and the task seems daunting to you, you can at least use Priority Inbox to help you organize your mail. As you see, you have important first, unread first, start first, or priority. I'm going to quickly go behind the scenes to show you how priority looks. So you can just go under Settings, and then when you click on Inbox, you just click on Priority Inbox. And you see right here you have 4 different sections. You click on Options, and you decide what you want for each of those sections. You can use all 4 sections, 2 sections. It's all up to you. Now, a second way for you to manage your mail is with multiple inboxes. All right, so with multiple inboxes, the name is deceiving because it's really just one inbox, but it gives you an opportunity to manage your mail any way you desire. So all of Sydney's mail comes right here, but she has a filter set up. So everything from Felicity comes here, everything from Brian comes here, and so on. You see that? These are just filters. Everything from her label News. Here's the label called News. If it goes into this label, it shows up right here. Now, a lot of admins like this. So if you are supporting a lot of people or have a lot of direct reports or whatever the case may be, if you're working on a project, and if you want everything to hit its own space, you can do so. And now that I've shown you all of the different search operators, you probably understand. I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to go to Multiple Inboxes. The Multiple Inboxes is a lab. When I click here, you see that? It's just a search query. So if you like multiple inboxes, have at it. All it is filtering the mail. So I'm just showing you lots of different ways to work with your mail because I know one size does not fit all. Just remember, multiple inboxes is a lab. The other inboxes are not labs. And just so. Well, you know what? It's really not. I mean, they consider it that, but you know, like some of the things like canned responses and undue send, they've been around for like 2 years or longer. So
something like that might get incorporated.
Exactly. Eventually, things get incorporated. Yeah.
Did they ever go the other way and say,
Yes.
we're not sure about this lab?
Well, yeah, there was a lab that I really liked there have been some labs that I liked, and so what they'll do, if a lab isn't highly used, then they'll remove it. Yeah. All right, now, the next thing I want to talk about is accounts. So go ahead and click on accounts. So if anyone will need to get access to your account, you can grant them access. You see right here at the bottom, it says grant access to your account. You can click right here and add another account. So if I need to give Brian access to my account, I can do so. Now, Brian will be able to read, delete, and send mail on my behalf. You see that? So then I just click on next step and grant him access via email. Now, it is all or nothing. I can't say, well, I want him to read but not send, or send but not delete. He will be able to do all three things. If Brian sends something on my behalf, it will say sent on behalf of. So no one can be a saboteur. Everyone will know that it was sent on my behalf. Now, I can always come and delete Brian, and it will say pending until he accepts. Now, you see right here at the very top, if you have access to someone's mail account as a delegate, I'm a delegate for James. I'm a delegate for Steve, and I'm a delegate for Asher. So I can send mail on their behalf. So it's just as easy as that. All right? Now, the next thing I want to do, we looked at filters. Let's go to chat. Chat is instant messaging. And I already asked you to enable your chat, to show your chat label so you can see all of your chat history will be saved right here in the chat system label. Now, chat is in the lower left-hand corner. It's kind of hidden away. So you click right here, and you see your chat. Now, one of the labs you may want to enable is called right side chat. A lot of people like that. So you can have your chat on the right side instead of the left. Just about preferences. If you want to start chatting with someone and you don't see them listed right here, all you have to do is click and type their name and invite them to chat. I want to start a chat with Sydney, so I click right here, and I can do a text chat. I can do a Google Hangout with Sydney. I can do a voice chat, a group chat, and under more, there are other things we can do. What does go off the record mean? It just means that our chat here will not be saved, all right? Not saved in your chat label. I can click right here next to my picture, and I can show myself as available, busy, or invisible. Yes, you can be on and no one knows. Yeah, do not disturb. Sometimes people ignore that, so I'll go invisible. All right, now, the other thing, if you want to work offline, you'll be able to do so. Offline only works with the Chrome browser. So if you need to work offline, you need to install everything under Chrome while you are online. And then you have your themes that you can choose as well. And then you see right here where it says Mail. You can click on the drop-down, and you have your contacts. Now, I can click on contacts from underneath Mail, or I can click on contacts right here from the menu. See where I'm pointing? What's the difference? There is no difference. Google is just giving us two ways to access contacts. So I'm going to click on contacts, and you'll see that you have 3 sets of contacts. You have My Contacts, and those are the contacts that synchronize with your mobile device. And then you have Most Contacted, and those are the 20 people you contact the most. And then you have Other Contacts. And Other Contacts, what's really neat is that anytime you send someone an email, they will automatically be added to your Other Contacts. You have the corporate directory and the ability to create a new group. So if I wanted to create a group called my Cru 18, I could do so. Click on OK, and there I have it. Here's my Cru 18. To add someone to my A team, I just click right here on the plus sign, and I can add. So I'm going to add Kane, and I'm going to add Michael. And there I have it. Then I just click on Add, and there they are. Another way to add contact, you can click right here, and you can cut and paste a distribution list. And I can also go under Other Contacts and just select people I want to be a part of the team. And then click, select the A team, click on Apply, and ta-da, there you have it. Now, if you did not want your A team to be in your mobile device, because remember, anything that has the label My Contacts will be in your mobile device. If you don't want them in your mobile device, you simply select everybody, click right here, and then do what? Exactly. Just deselect. Anything you don't want, you just deselect. Click on Apply, and it's gone. Now, the other thing you can do under More, you can also manage delegation settings. So you remember I gave Brian access to my mail. I can also give Brian access to my contact. I'll just click right here on Manage Delegation Settings, type his name, and so now Brian has access to my contact. So that's how you share your contacts. And I'm done. And then the last thing is task. So your tasks work with your mail account. And if you want to add a task, you click on the plus sign. You can add a task like Create Report. Click right here on Edit Details, and you can give this a date. Click on the calendar, give it a date. Click in the notes box, type some notes, and then go back to your list. Under Actions, you can indent and unindent tasks. So you can give tasks the appearance of being subtasks. And this is one of my favorite features. You can create a brand new list. So you can have multiple task lists. You see right here? I'm going to click on New List. And I'm going to call this list my 18 list. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to select 2 email messages. And then I'm going to go under More. And I'm going to add them to the task. Very nice. Now, there are 2 things you can't do with tasks. You can't have reoccurring tasks, and you can't have reminders. So if you need tasks that reoccur, or if you need reminders, you need to go to the calendar. Now, any task you create in Mail, you will also see on your calendar. So they are synchronized. Now that we're in Calendar, let's look at our 5 calendar views. We have the day view. You click right here. And then you have the month view, the 4-day view, and the agenda view. So these are the 5 different views you have for your calendar. Now, by default, Google has given you the week view. But you can change this to any view that you desire. All right. Now, you have your mini view as well. You see this? If I click on the mini view, and if I wanted to go to, let's say, June 18th. So if I click on June 18th, you see that? It automatically took me to the month of the 18th. I click again, and it takes me to the week of the 18th. I click again, and it takes me to the day. Okay? So you can just toggle back and forth till you get what you want. And now I'm going to show you 3 ways to create events, all right? So the first way is just to click on Create. So go ahead and click on Create. And then the event we're going to create is a team meeting. Now, if you create anything, I'll show you how to delete it. It's easy. And then we're going to give it a date, and we're going to give it a time. Now, you see right here where it says time zone? Don't be concerned with the time zone. Anytime you create an event, it will always be in the recipient's correct time zone. All right? Now, look at this. You see right here where it says all day. Right now, it shows me as busy. You see that, right? Go ahead and click on all day. When you click on all day, Google automatically shows you as available. So if you create an event and it's an all-day event, you will manually have to click on busy. Just remember that. And then you also can create a repeating event. So you can deselect all day, click on repeat, and you see events can repeat anywhere from daily to yearly, and events can repeat a number of different weeks. When you finish, you click on done. Now the next thing we're going to do is to add our guests. Now once again, we have the type ahead feature, which is really very cool. Plus you can add rooms. Everybody likes this because it only shows the rooms that are available. So I'm going to click right here and add the shore room. And then I can mark some attendees as optional. So I'm going to click right here and mark Nicholas as optional. And if I wanted to remove someone, I could click on the X and remove someone. I can allow guests to modify the event, invite others, and see the guest list. Now by default, we are able to allow guests to invite others so they can delegate a meeting to someone else. So if you don't let your guests invite others, they'll have a difficult time delegating a meeting to someone else. You can add a description, add an attachment, give the event a color, and you have reminders. Plus, you can show yourself as available or busy and work with privacy settings. Now, I want you to watch this. Right now, above guest can, you don't see anything. But when I deselect repeat, watch what happens. You see? Suggested time. If a meeting is an all-day event, or if a meeting is a repeat event, you are not going to see suggested times. Suggested times is pretty cool. I click on suggested times, and it shows me all the times that my guests and my room are available. That's very nice. But again, if it's an all-day event or a repeating event, you're not going to see it. Not a problem. You can click right here in the second tab. You see where I'm clicking? Find a time. So when I click on find a time, there I have it. So now I get to see the calendars of all my guests. Now don't become alarmed and say, what? Can everybody just see my calendar just because they've invited me to an event? The answer is yes. But they will only see what you allow them to see. Like Lisa. Lisa just lets me see free busy. I just know that she's busy. Now, James lets me see full details. Brian lets me see full details. But Lisa, I just know when she's free. I know when she's busy. Now, this date and time isn't good for anybody. So I'm going to click here and go to Wednesday. Wednesday's better. I click right here, and everybody can make it. Now, you see Nicholas' calendar isn't showing. That's because I said Nicholas was optional. But if I click right here on all, saying I want to see the calendar of all my guests, watch what happens. I click on all, and now I see Nicholas' calendar. And Nicholas, too. He just lets me see free busy. That's all I know. So now I'm going to click on Save and Send, and I've just created my first event, which is a team meeting. Now, the second way to create an event is Quick Add. Now, I'd like for you to follow along. You see right here? Click on the drop-down where it's next to Create on Quick Add, all right? And this is what I want you to type. Now, remember, I will show you how to delete it. I want you to type Dinner with Friends, 7 p.m. every other Sunday. That's all I want you to type. Dinner with Friends, 7 p.m. every other Sunday. You got it? All right. Now, click on Add. Ta-da. You see that? It automatically placed it on your calendar, right? Dinner with Friends, 7 p.m. every other Sunday. That's pretty cool. That's Quick Add. You can just type, and whatever you tell it to do, it'll do. Now, if you want to delete that, all you have to do is click. You see what I'm doing? You just click on it, and then click Delete. You just press and delete. Now, the third way to create an event is just to click inside the date that you want. So I want something on the 6th. So I just click right here, and I'm going to type sales meeting at 3 p.m., and then I'm going to press the Enter key. And there you have it, sales meeting at 3 p.m. Now watch this. Go ahead, click on the number, whatever number it was. So I'm going to click on the number 6. Watch what happens. It opens up. And look at this. I can click and drag this anywhere I want. Go ahead and click and drag. You can click and drag it anywhere you want. And if you wanted the meeting to be longer, you can click, and you can make that meeting longer. You see that? And everybody will be happy for a longer meeting, right? So I just wanted to show you how easy it is to work with your calendar. Google is user-friendly, very intuitive, and if you think about it, you can do it. You can click and drag, and you can move events around. So let me go back to today, to the month view, and look at this. You see this team meeting? Watch. I'm going to click and drag. You see that? You can just move events around. You just click and drag, just like that. Another way to edit is to click on that event and click Edit Event. And watch this. I'm going to change the time, and when I click on Save, it's telling me it's outside of some of my guests' working hour. That's too bad. I'm just going to go ahead and click on Save Event. And then, would you like to send? So that's another way for you to update. And sometimes when you do an update, let me do Edit, because this is a repeating event. Watch what happens when I change a repeating event. It asks, only this event, following events, or all events. So lots of cool features here. I'm just going to say, only change this event. Now, the next thing I want to do is to talk about invitations. So invitations are going to come into your inbox. When you receive an invitation in your inbox, you just click on it like this, invitation. What's really nice is that your invitations, you'll have an opportunity to see your agenda. So you'll always know whether or not you are available because your agenda will show up right here. So you can say yes, maybe, and no from this first option. Now watch what happens. If I say yes from this first option, it just says you have replied yes. But if I say yes from the second option, watch what happens. It opens the invitation up in the edit mode. And here I can add a note or change my response. So if you ever need to change your response, that's one of the ways to do it. Now, if you click right here and you add a note, your note is not private. Everyone can see what you typed, as you see here. I can read, yes, I'm your friend, okay? I want to tell you everything up front. So anything you type here will be seen by everybody else. But, of course, I know you would never type anything that couldn't be seen by everybody else anyway, right? So I'm just telling you that, good to know. You also have your suggested times. Another cool feature, I can add guests, and look at this, I can email guests. So even though I'm not the originator of this event, I can email guests in any or all of these categories. That's really nice. All right, so I'm just going to click on Don't Send and Save. Now, I'd like for you to do this. We're back to My Calendars. Click on the drop-down right here where it says My Calendars. You see the first calendar is your calendar. Click on the drop-down next to your calendar. You see all the things you can do with your calendar. Click on Share This Calendar. This is how you share your calendar with someone else. Now, everyone at Cru can see Free and Busy. That's the basic. That's the minimum. But if you wanted someone to see more than just when you're free and busy, you would just type their names right here in the person field. So watch this. I'm going to give Lisa, Lynn, and Nicholas greater access to my calendar. I'm going to click on the drop down. So now Lisa can do everything to my calendar that I can do because I gave her the same permission that I have. Lynn can make changes, and Nicholas can see all event details. So again, if you want someone to have greater access to your calendar, you can give them greater access. I'm just going to click on Save. The next thing I'd like for you to do is to click right here on Reminders and Notifications. So this is where you set up your default reminders. So if you want to be reminded via pop-up in an email every time you receive an invite, you can do so. You can add up to 5 reminders. So if you need 5 default reminders, then you can add 5 default reminders. Plus, you choose how you want to be notified about new, changed, and canceled events. Of course, you want to get an email anytime something is new, changed, or canceled, and your responses if you want the yes, no's, and maybes to come into your inbox. And if you are an eager beaver, you can have your agenda come into your inbox every day at 5 a.m., all right? When you finish setting up your reminders and notifications, you just click on Save Changes. Now, you see right here where it says My Calendars? Go ahead and click on that for me, please. And then you remember I told you I would show you how you can create any kind of calendar you want. Go ahead and click on Create New Calendar. So this is where you can create a team calendar. You can create a personal calendar, a project calendar. Any kind of calendar you think of, you can create. So we're going to create a team calendar. Have everyone put their vacation days on it. You can share this just like we did before. And then I'm just going to click right here on Create Calendar. And there we have it, our new calendar, which is the team calendar. There it is right there. Now the second set of calendars, if you click right here, are other calendars. This is how you get access to a coworker's calendar. All you have to do, watch, is type the names of the coworkers you want to get access to. You see that? And again, don't be alarmed and don't say, you know, what? Can anybody just type my name and get access? What will they see? What you allow them to see, right? Remember. So Fiona just lets me see free busy. But Brian and James let me see everything. So watch this. I want to show you this. So when I click right here, and I click on the drop-down, you see I can put an event on my calendar, Brian's, James, the team, and the travel calendar. I can put an event on any calendar that's right here. But as you see, I can't put anything on Fiona's or Sydney's. That's because their calendars are under other calendars. Brian and James have given me the same rights that they have to their calendar I have. Does that make sense? So if their names are here, you can manage their calendars. If their names are here, you cannot. Okay? I'm just going to close this out. Now, follow along with me, please. I'd like for you to click right here on Settings and select Labs. Now, the calendar labs, I recommend, or I should say we recommend, the first 7 and the last 3. So you want to enable the first 7 and the last 3. And if you don't like some of them, you can always come back and deselect. But the first 7 and the last 3, I don't think you would want to deselect. Now, when you finish, you just want to click on Save and go back to Calendar. And then the next thing I'd like for you to do is to go back to Settings. And this time, when you go to Settings, you're on the General tab. You see that? Now, this is important. With the General tab, you choose your language, your country, your time zone. You see right here where there are 2 time zones. Let me show you how this works. So with the 2 time zones, I have Pacific and Eastern because some of my coworkers are in Pacific and we're in Eastern. So I want to make sure that I don't schedule meetings that are too early for them, so that's why I have 2 time zones. So I'm going to go back to Settings, and you can have 2 time zones too. You decide in your date and time format, your default meeting length, working hours, event dimming. This is really cool. Someone was asking earlier whether or not the labs get promoted. Yes, they do. Event dimming last year was a lab. Now event dimming is prime time. So it dims past events and dim reoccurring events. It's a cool feature. You can decide on your default view, your custom view, and where it says location, go ahead and put in your location. You can put in your location, you can put in your zip code, whichever you desire. And then you can show the weather on your calendar based on your location. So choose Celsius or Fahrenheit. So after you put in that, two things I want to mention. Show events you've declined and automatically add invitations to my calendar. These two, Google has automatically set to yes. What does that mean? It means if I send you an invitation right now, that invitation is automatically going to be in your calendar. Before you say yes, no, or maybe, it's automatically going to be on your calendar. And if you say no to my invitation, it will still be on your calendar with a strike through. That might work for you. One of my coworkers, she likes that. It's all about personal preferences. Just know that Google has automatically set it up to yes. When you finish with all of your settings, you want to click on Save, go back to your calendar, and let's take a look at some of the labs and features we have selected. So I'm going to click right here. Here are some of the labs. The world clock. We don't have to guess what time it is in other time zones anymore. We have the world clock. Event player. Remember that dinner with friends that we created? When I click on dinner with friends, I can select a knife and fork icon to go with my dinner with friends. That's pretty cool. And then you have the year view, jump to date, and next meeting. So some of the labs that you enable